Dear student, welcome again. We were discussing in part 7 the theories of the motivation, and in the module 31 we have discussed about the very concept of the motivation. We have tried to understand what are the characteristics and the importance of the motivation. When we have thoroughly discussed about the very simple concept about the extrinsic and the intrinsic motivation. In today's lecture 32, we will be discussing about the theories of the motivation, and we will be starting up with the very important theory, that is the Maslow need hierarchy theory. What are the different needs of the human and the critical appraisal about the Maslow need hierarchy theory. So, before starting this particular module, let me give you an idea about what is motivation. So far we have discussed about the motivation, and motivation we have learned is something which can be initiated as well as maintained from the organizational part, and motivation is an inner energy or something which like persuade an employee to outperform, to complete a organizational activity or the goals. Okay. We have thoroughly understand about the extrinsic part as well as the intrinsic part. Extrinsic part is something which is with respect towards the some kind of rewards like bonus or some hike in salary, some kind of promotion, advancement. Okay. So, these things will be like motivating the employee to like complete a task within the organization. On the other hand, we talked about the intrinsic motivation. It is something which is like inner part or something which a sense of satisfaction towards the employee, and which is generally not economic factor. Okay, some kind of rewards that you are getting. It may be that a subordinate is getting an appreciation from the seniors regarding the way the activity has been completed. So, it will be an intrinsic part. Okay. Now, moving beyond Maslow's need hierarchy theory. So, Maslow was an American psychologist, and he developed a general theory of motivation, which is based on some kind of needs which are categorized based on some hierarchy. Okay. So, you will see that there will be suppose we have learned about the hierarchy of the organizational structure, where the lower level, middle level and the upper level employees are there. Similarly, your hierarchy of needs will be there, like 5 needs according to Maslow. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, 5 needs will be there, and it is based on some kind of structure, hierarchical structure. That is why we call it as a need hierarchy theory. Okay. Now, before as you can see in this slide, this is the hierarchical structure given by the Maslow. Now, before we proceed with this theory, let us try to understand the very basic features of this particular theory. Very first one, needs are complex, multiple and interrelated, just like the motivation. Okay. Motivation are very complex. Why it is complex? Because it consists of some kind of human behavior. One employee will be motivated because of some factors like intrinsic factors. One employee getting higher motivation because of some extrinsic factors. So, you cannot like have a single policy or single incentive to motivate all the employees. That is why it is very complex. The needs of the employees are very complex. It may be that some employees are more favorable towards the better working environment, whereas some employee will be more comfortable with respect to the quality of the work which has been given to them. Okay. So, it is very complex process. multiple process, like you cannot say that employee X will be only motivated by non-economic factor. Okay. Both type of extrinsic as well as the intrinsic motivation should be there, or there will be a multiple or the exchange of both the motivational factors, so that the employee can like outperform. Okay. And it is interrelated as well, like different needs of the employees are there with respect to physiological needs, social needs, okay, safety and security needs, self-esteem needs, self-actualization needs. These are the needs as propounded by Abraham H. Maslow, and these needs are overlapping. Okay, like it means at the same time you are fulfilling your physiological needs, but at the same time you will be also thinking about the self-esteem needs. So, all the needs are interrelated. Second is, needs form a hierarchy. As you can see in this slide, there is a hierarchy of needs which start with your physiological needs, safety needs, your social needs, next is your self-esteem needs and your self-actualization needs. We will be discussing in details about these kind of needs, but with respect to the characteristics of the needs, it form a hierarchy. Okay. So, the more and more you go in the hierarchy, the newer needs will emerge. It may be you totally completed your needs or the motivation at the lower level, or partially completed. Okay. Then the new need will be emerged. So, that is why Maslow call it the need hierarchy theory, because there will be a proper hierarchy of different kind of needs or requirements of the employee. Third one, this is the first one, second one, third one. Lower need must be at least partially satisfied to move to the higher needs. As we have discussed, like once you fulfilled your physiological needs, it may be not completely, but partially you completed your physiological needs, then you will be going upward towards your safety and security needs. Okay. So, this is one of the feature. Fourth one, satisfaction of one need emerge another need. Suppose you completed your social needs, then you will be moving towards your self-esteem needs. Okay. So, once you completed one of the needs, this will give the birth towards the new needs. Next one, satisfied need is not a motivator. Now, this is an important factor. Now, how the needs will be acting as a motivation factor for the employee? Just take an example, or as you can see in this particular figure. Suppose the safety and the security needs. Okay. So, once an organization or once an employee join an organization, okay, what are the very first thing that will be expected, or what will be the requirement of that particular employee? It will not be like at the very first day they will be looking for self-actualization or the self-esteem needs. Okay. Very first thing that they will be requiring is the basic necessities, like with respect to the minimum salary, food, okay, the ambient, okay, the working conditions. These will be the very important or the very initial needs which will be required. Okay. But once suppose you are in the organization for 2 to 3 years, now you are very much sure about that you will be able to like arrange for the food, water, shelter. So, these are the very basic needs. Then you will be going beyond that, okay, with respect to the safety and security needs, that whether you will be there in the organization for a longer period of time or not. Okay. So, once the new need emerges, it acts as a motivator. So, the employee will be performing all the activities, or they will be like developing new skills, so that they will be sustained by the organization for a longer period of time, and there will be a safety of the job. So once you achieve that particular position, suppose you were in the probation period was for 2 years. Now you will be like outperforming, you will be learning so many things, you will be going for some kind of workshop, seminar, okay, you will be following all the orders of your supervisor, okay, but for what? For the purpose of getting confirmation or permanent job. Now once you got like confirmation or you become the permanent employee, these factor will be like lowering, okay, and these factor will not be work as a motivational factors, because already you have completed that aspects. Now new need will be emerging. New need will be like social need. Like human is a social animal as we know it. So you will be seeking for some kind of good friends over the organization. Okay. So now this will become the motivational thing for an employee. Okay. So satisfied need is not a motivator, but what you are like targeting for, okay, will be your motivational factors. Last one is the interdependent. Like all the needs are interdependent. We cannot call it like once you have achieved one need, another need will arise, and this need will be like you have completed it. Okay. All the basic needs, psychological needs and self-fulfillment needs, these needs are somehow interrelated. Okay. Like you are at the self-actualization needs. It doesn't mean that you don't need food, water. Okay. So you can call it the overlapping of the need, or the needs are interdependent. Okay. So these were some of the features of the need hierarchy theory. Now moving beyond, already we have discussed this, categories of the needs, alright. So the self-actualization need, as you can see in this particular diagram, then the self-esteem needs, social needs, safety and security needs, and last one is your physiological needs. Okay. Now let us understand what are these needs with some examples. Very first thing, suppose an employee joins an organization. Okay. Now very first thing that the employee will be looking is the physiological needs. Very first element in the Maslow need hierarchy theory. Now they include need for food, drink, clothing, sleep, okay, and these must be satisfied first. Okay. So whether the employee is earning the minimum salary so that they can afford for the food, drink, clothing, shelter, okay, or like the proper sleep. Okay, suppose the employee is working for like 15 hours. So what is the physiological needs? That employee should like sleep or take the sleep for 8 to 10 hours, for example. But he or she is not able to do that because of too much of work in the organization. So it means the basic physiological need is not met out, and it acts as a demotivating factor for the employee. Got it? So this is the very first need, physiological need. It will call as the basic necessities of an employee. So employee with the very first day or when they join an organization ensures that their physiological needs are met out or not. Now second is your safety needs. Safety needs concerned with the protection from the danger, alright, deprivation and the threat. So it is with respect to the organization can influence these needs through pension schemes, insurance plans, fear of dismissal. Okay. So second will be whether employee will be like they are confident that whether they will be retained by the organization or not, or what their job security are, okay, in which situation that they are working. Imagine a employee at the supervisory level, alright. Now they are working in a environment where too much of big machineries are there. So the chances are also there that they can meet out with some kind of accident. It could be like life threatening activity. So the employee will be also think of their families. What will happen if they are not no more? So for that thing, or for these kind of needs, the employers will be ensuring some kind of pension scheme, insurance plan, fear of dismissal, that they will not be they will be retained by the organizations. Okay. Now once the employee feel that yes, they will be in the organization and they have some kind of insurance plan, that even something happen in the organization or some kind of accident happen, the insurance schemes are there that could pay off their medical bills. Okay. So they are very much safe, they will be feeling safe and secured within the organization. Now this particular part is like they have already achieved it. Now with respect to the next needs is the social need. As you can see, man is a social animal and he seeks affiliation with others. Social need refers to the need for belonging, need for acceptance and need for love and affection. So when you are working for an organization, you make some friends, that is we call it as the part of the informal structure. We have already learned it, formal and informal organization. So man is not a machine, man is a social animal. They need to discuss some kind of good things in their lives, what the struggle that they are facing in their lives. If they are not getting that particular environment within the organization, okay, over a period of time you will see that you are starting feeling demotivated, or you are not getting so much of attention in your work. Okay. So the third part that organization should ensure or an employee is looking for is the social needs. Now once the social needs are met out, the employee will be looking for the esteem needs. Okay. Now esteem needs are of two types, self-esteem and esteem for others. Okay. Self-esteem include self-respect, self-confidence, competence, achievement, knowledge and independence. Alright. Whereas esteem for other is the same thing but for the other employees. Okay. So suppose a situation is there, like you are working in a group, subordinate is not recognizing your good activity performed, okay, or subordinate is not behaving well with you. In that situation, you will not be feeling too much confident, or your self-respect will be at lower. Now these things will actually demotivate the employee. If you are not getting the recognition and you are not having any kind of say within the organization, okay, the organization are not taking any kind of initiative with respect to your contribution, ultimately this will act as a demotivating factor, because it is actually hitting your self-esteem needs. So this should be met out, or an employee is expecting to have some kind of self-respect within the organization. And last one is something which we call it as the self-actualization need. Self-actualization need is you are going for some kind of looking for some kind of motivation to learn those activities which you always wanted to learn throughout your life. Okay. So as you can see in the slide, these are the needs for realizing one's full potential, okay, for continued self-development and for being creative. It's desire to become what one is capable of becoming. Now in your corporate life, for 20 years or 30 years you were working, you have ensured your physiological needs, you have ensured your job security, you have made some good friends over there, okay. you have a say within the organization, and like you contribute towards the development of the organization, and the self respect is there. And the last one is, there will be something which you always wanted to learn, but because of too much of activities within the organization, you will not able to do that. So once you complete that particular task, you can say that you are achieved the self full potential, or an employee will be motivated to achieve that particular position. Like in the industries, you will see hardly a few employees are there who can achieve at the self actualization position. We can learn with one example, like a cricketer is there, as you like everyone knows it, Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Now he has won so many accolades for Team India. He won 2 World Cup matches, ICC Champions Trophy, too many contribution is there of MS Dhoni. Now MS Dhoni, apart from the cricketing life, what he is learning, like you will see that he is having a very big farm, where you will see that very MS Dhoni is like cultivating some vegetables. Okay, so it is a type of the self actualization needs, like where you have completed all your duties and responsibilities, and you are learning something which is you always wanted to do. Okay, another example we can take of Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev won the World Cup 1983, everyone knows it, but what the problem was that he was not able to speak in English. Like whenever there was a some kind of interview or some kind of public release or some kind of media was there, he was very hesitant to face the media because he was not so good in English. So after the cricketing life, you will see that he learned English and he is very much fluent in English, and he used to have English commentary. You will see in the matches that Kapil Dev is like giving the interviews in the English. He is in the commentary box and in the English language. So this is, we call it as the self actualization, and very few people will be able to achieve this. Okay. So I hope we got to know the idea about the very basic needs given by the Maslow's. Now the last one is the criticism of Maslow's need hierarchy theory. But before that, let us discuss some of the significant contribution. Like Maslow's need hierarchy theory is very simple to understand. Like we have seen, Maslow divided the total needs of the employee into 5 different hierarchical structure. Very first one is the physiological need, everyone knows it, safety needs, your social need, self-esteem needs, and the self-actualization needs. So for any industry or for any company, application of these needs could be very simple. Okay, and it is at the same time based on some kind of behavioral aspect, like some interviews were conducted, and based on that this particular needs were derived. So the advantages, or you can say the good part of the Maslow need hierarchy theory is with respect to the applicability of this theory towards the different industrial structure. However, this theory got some kind of criticism as well. Now on what basis this theory has been criticized? As you can see, very first one, needs are not only determinant of the behavior. Like the total theory is focusing towards only one factor, and this factor is the physiological needs, safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and your actualization needs. However, Maslow has taken the assumption that needs derives the behavior, but it is not so. Needs are not the only factor that drives the behavior of an employee. It could be the attitude of the employee. Okay, it could be the perception of the employee. It could be the beliefs of the employee. So there are many factors which which influence the behavior of the employee. Let me take one example. Suppose an employee is getting all the rewards and fulfilling the physiological needs. Okay. The organization is like giving the wage hike, timely bonus, and some kind of recognition as well. But at the same time, if the employee's attitude is not favorable towards the organization culture, then these motivation, the motivation that he derives from the rewards and bonuses and all these factors will not be like stimulating the employee towards the objective of the organization. Okay. So, this is the very first limitation, that behavior of the employee cannot be solely dependent upon the needs arisement. Second is, does not follow the sequence. We have already discussed, like this is the total part, okay, the need hierarchy theory. So, what are the assumption or the preposition of Maslow's? Maslow's suggested that once the physiological needs are met out or partially met out, one moves towards the your safety needs, again towards your social needs, esteem needs, and the self actualization needs. But is it really so? Like you are not like Maslow's sequence of motivation or the sequence of the needs can be challenged. One can say that like physiological needs are met out, and once you are achieving the self actualization need or your self esteem needs, at the same time you cannot say that you are meeting all the physiological needs at the cost of your self respect. Can we call it like you are getting the salary, you are getting the food, water, shelter with the cost of your self esteem? So, it depends on the employees to employees. It may be that it is a very big factor for employee X, but employee Y does not have any kind of like importance with respect to the self esteem needs at the physiological level. So, we cannot say that this sequence will be followed. They will be interdependent of all the factors or all the needs. Third one, clinical theory, like who were the employees or who were the samples which were taken to draw the conclusion that physiological needs will come first or the self actualization will be the last needs. What will happen before physiological needs and after the self actualization needs? Okay. So, clinical theory, it means that it is based on small sample. Okay. Questions about the methodology is also there, like some of the employees in America, they were the sample, and this theory cannot be universally used. It may be that this theory is with respect to a small group, that is okay, but we cannot use this theory for all the industry. So, this is also one of the limitation. And the last one, fulfillment of lower need not always arise in higher needs. So, this is also one of the limitation, like we cannot say that once you have achieved your self esteem needs, okay, or esteem needs, you go for the social needs or vice versa. Like at the very first day of your job, it could be the very important factor that the self respect or the any kind of recognition is the most important aspect apart from your physiological needs. It depends on the employees to employee. So, these are some of the limitations in the Maslow need hierarchy theory, but again I will say that the Maslow need hierarchy theory is like foundation for the different motivational theories, and we will be discussing in details in the upcoming theories. Okay. And there are so many positive points of the Maslow need hierarchy theory, and the biggest point is the simplicity. Okay. Like it can be applied to different kind of industries. So, in this module we thoroughly discussed about the Maslow need hierarchy theory, the categories of the human needs that are the different structure or the different hierarchy, and the critical appraisal of the Maslow need hierarchy theory. And in the upcoming module, we will be discussing about the Herzberg two-factor theory, and these are some of the suggested books. I recommend you to go through these books to get more insight about the Maslow need hierarchy theory. That is all for this session. Thank you so much.